What's up everyone, I'm your Thinking Cap Benji and welcome back to Meta Moves. Last week I wasn't able to upload the Game Week 22 installment because I was traveling, but I've come back at just the right time because there's a double game week coming just around the corner and chip season is about to begin. I'll touch on all of those, plus the current forward power curve and what to do if you own one of the less effective options. Thinking Cap activated. Elite FPL managers are constantly looking at the full fixture schedule, and that's something that we're going to start to do regularly on this series. Now, before we dive into discussing the double game week, there's a few key points I'll quickly run you through. First, we need to keep in mind that the Prem transfer window is open until the 1st of February, which means there's going to be a heck of a lot of movement in the FPL landscape. My calculations are telling me that the big financial moves, don't do them in January. That's a risk. February looks like the optimal movement time because we're going to have more information about the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, as well as the upcoming blanks and doubles. Just quickly on fixture congestion, there's two teams I'd suggest you guys stay away from, and that would be Spurs, who play almost every midweek with Thursday, Sunday, 3-day turnaround. Their squad has also been smashed by injury, so I'm staying far away from Spurs assets. There's also Man City, who will likely play 2 extra fixtures in Champions League, and their next 6 league games have them up against all of the current top 6. You can stick with a Foden or a Haaland for Chelsea if you own them, but after that, I'd be pivoting off of those assets, and definitely no investment there. Aston Villa lost in the Champions League this week away from home, and if they don't win their final UCL game to secure a top 8 finish, they'll have 6 fixtures within 16 days in February. Big congestion impacting the likes of Watkins and Morgan Rogers. So overall, you need to make sure to be very careful with these players from those teams and try to hold some of your free transfers until February because the movement timing is better, as we'll have way more information about future scheduling. Let's turn our attention to the talk of the town, the postponed Merseyside derby. It's now been confirmed in Game Week 24, meaning Liverpool and Everton are doubling next game week. Both teams will have 2 matches in that round. This season, there's only 3 double game weeks on the forecast, currently landing in 24, so it'll be next week, 33, and in 36. There's 5 chips available, guys. And of course, look, some of you may have used them already, but most of you will be sitting on quite a few with a few left. And look, I've done a lot of probability crunching this week, and I can say with an honest opinion that I think it's impossible to lock in a complete chip strategy without knowing the exact fixtures in 33 and 36. We won't know those fixtures until later in the season, but we'll have a better idea in February after another round of the Cups, which is why I'm saying don't lock in your chip strategy for future doubles. For the future doubles, don't lock it in until we get those game weeks confirmed. Another piece of advice I've got is save your best chips for later, because 33 and 36 are going to be bigger double game weeks than the double in 24, where there's only obviously one team doubling. For me, the best chip in the game right now is the new chip called the assistant manager chip. So for me, there's 0% chance I use that in double game week 24. That's going to be getting used in 33 or 36 for the bigger doubles. Bench boost gets you the most games because if you plan well, you can have 8 fixtures on your bench boost compared to the regular 4 fixtures. Look, I don't really rate bench boost that much as a chip, so I don't really mind it playing it next week in 24, but you need to be in a very unique position like I am. I've got 5 free transfers and I'm already stacked on 3 doublers, looking to bring in a 4th this week. So I have a lot in place already, and there's potential for me to bench boost, but even then, it's a very low probability. The free hit is the only chip where I'd say you can utilize a shield strategy instead of a sword strategy. Like, you can use your free hit as a get out of jail in a blank game week, right? And that's what I'm trying to say. That's the only chip where you can do that, and that's my current plan as well. That leaves me with just 1 chip for next week. Triple captain. I'm probably going to be slapping it on Salah, but I'll reevaluate next week after watching him, as bench boost is still an option for my personal team. But either way, guys, there's not a lot of doubles this season, and the 24 double is one of the only ones we're gonna have. If you've got a good bench for 24 that you believe can hit 16 points plus, if you still have your triple captainship, then I'd seriously go for it, because there's too many chips and not enough double game weeks. For those of you who have already used your triple captain and you're not in a position to bench boost, I'd save that assistant manager chip because in my opinion, it's the best chip. And I think playing it for 36, 37, 38 looks amazing. And I think you just have to save it. You hope Salah flops and you go super hard on investing for this double, which would be you go for 5 doublers minimum out of the possible 6. Now, in terms of spacing and congestion, Everton aren't really a worry at all. They've got Leicester at home in their double. Sandwiched between that is Bournemouth at home in the FA Cup. So no travel, no congestion, and very little chance of rotation. Liverpool's schedule is a little more congested. They've wrapped up the Champions League now, which is great for the minutes. But after Ipswich, it's PSV away in the midweek, and then it's Bournemouth away as the first game in that double. There's a sizable gap between Bournemouth and Everton, and Liverpool also have another FA Cup round sandwich there, but I expect Arne Slot to rotate against Plymouth fully. I doubt there's going to be any of the Liverpool assets we're looking at right now. I don't think they're going to be affected by that Plymouth game, which means the only threat to X minutes is Tottenham at home in the second leg of the Carabao Cup semis. Whatever happens in that one, it's a 6-day gap. 6 days from the Tottenham game to the Everton game. That's excellent spacing, and there should be very, very little first team rotation from Slot as Liverpool are chasing the league. Bournemouth away is not an easy fixture, and neither is the final game at Goodison Park as Everton are switching stadiums next season. Now, what should your targets be for the double? Who? How many? First off, triple Liverpool should be 100% essential for 24. That's my perspective on it. I think you guys need to get to triple Liverpool as soon as possible for 24. Now, I'd recommend going for the safer minutes picks over the riskier guys, especially with Liverpool. You do not want to sacrifice on the best team across the next 3 weeks with a punt, right? The home games sandwiched in around the double for Liverpool are amazing, Ipswich and Wolves, so it's really the time to load up. I think if you've got to have Trent, and of course, Salah's going to be there as well. But the third one is up for debate. You can pick your poison. From the blue side of Liverpool, probably 1 to 2 Everton assets is the right amount. Their long-term fixtures aren't amazing, so tripling up on them is pretty tough to maneuver in and out of, but you can go for an Everton attacker and then bench them medium term. Or what you could do is instead of just benching them after 24, you could sell them off straight away in 25. Maybe you go to another striker there, another cheap striker, and yeah, I think that could be a really, really high upside play. The entrance for Everton investment is probably in 24 because Leicester's the best fixture. You don't really want to hop on there for Brighton away. You're not missing anything there. So, and I don't think Everton's attack is worthy of a perma play against Brighton away. So, and for Liverpool entrance, I'd say for me, I'm a minutes guy. You guys know this. I'm a minutes guy. I love minutes. I don't like, early subs and all of this. And all of those attackers, they have been mass rotated at points across the season. So I wouldn't be feeling too comfortable going for one of the attackers now. I would probably go for them next week after the final Champions League round because the lineup in the PSV away game, which is their Champions League game away from home, that's going to be the biggest indicator for minutes. And yeah, you're missing the Ipswich fixture, but the double game week is where the big upside is, and that's where you want to get the minutes correct. The defenders are different because Trent was rested against Lille. Van Dijk has a tiny chance maybe to miss Ipswich, but not that much. And Konate was rested as well. And Alisson, as long as he's fit, he's going to start. So I don't think you have any concerns with the defense. Don't be touching Robertson. But I think it's safe to go for the defense this week. Attackers, a little bit less so. So to conclude, aim for those 4 to 5 doublers, 3 Liverpool, 1 to 2 Everton if possible. If you can get to that by game week 24, you're going to be in a really, really strong position. The sleeper selection is low-key my favorite part of the Meta Moves series. We've recommended so many good differentials this season. Cunha, Hall, João Pedro, Ndie recently, Alisson recently. Our hit rate speaks for itself, and the newest recruitment on the block is a Liverpool attacker in the form of Cody Gakpo. He's hovering just under 10% ownership right now, and he's absolutely thriving under Arne Slot, returning 8 GA and 13 starts, but there's a few reasons why I'm recommending him over the other Liverpool attackers right now, and that's because he's the most likely to start Ipswich, Bournemouth, and Everton. Gakpo didn't feature at all against Lille, so the start versus Ipswich looks very secure. His minutes average across the last 5 league games has been really great, and because Diogo Jota is out for a few weeks with a muscular injury, Gakpo's minutes projections are really strong for that double. We already know the fixture is good. The fixture patch across the next 3 is good, but you got to remember, he is a 3-week punt. He has a 3-week lifespan in the current meta. 23 to 25, then you're out. Long term, he provides no minutes guarantee, but in the current meta, he does have a place in the power curve. Gakpo's enlisted as a forward. Obviously, he likes to operate from the left wing for Liverpool, which is why when we look at his data compared to all of the other forwards in the game, his non-pen XGI and his shot volume is a little lower than what you'd ideally want in a number 9, but Gakpo makes up for it with bigger assist potential, as well as a very unique high baseline at 12 BPS. That's higher than Luis Diaz, and in the double, Liverpool have a lot of bonus monsters. Salah, Trent, even Alisson has a crazy high baseline. So if you're going for the double attack, I'd strongly consider Gakpo. His baseline is actually only second behind Matheus Cunha out of all strikers, which just shows you the upside on offer from these out of position strikers. Talking to my partner, FPL Skyline, shout out, you can check out his link in the description. He is a devout Liverpool fan and a master of differentials. He's actually not very hot on Gakpo because of the minutes. And let's not get it twisted, guys. Although Gakpo's predicted 2 starts in the next 2, it's very unlikely he hits 90 minutes in both games in the double. 160 minutes from Gakpo in 24. That's probably a reach. You're not going to get, I don't think you're going to get 160 minutes. I think you're going to get closer to the 150s with a 75-minute cameo, then another 75-minute cameo. But with that being said, still, 3 starts, 2 starts in the next few, 75, 80 minutes. There's still a lot of positives there with 3 projected starts from the next 3. His underlyings are decent, and he remains a top Liverpool prospect at seriously low ownership. This episode has been really focusing on forwards, and finally, my power rankings are back. I've had a few questions about Nicholas Jackson and what to do with him, so let's start there. Now, let me make this very clear. I have no issue with his minutes short term. Long term is a little bit of a different story, but I still believe he's clearly Maresca's first choice number 9. I also have no issue with Nico's underlying data because it's great. XGI, post-shot XG, big chance involvement, all of that is fine. He's in the top 8 players for total GA this season, and the next 6 fixtures include West Ham at home, as well as back-to-back promoted teams at home. So it's actually not that bad. I have 2 issues with him. Number 1, price, and number 2, recent Chelsea injuries. Lavia and Enzo Fernandez are out with injuries. Medium term, I'm assuming they'll miss 2 game weeks minimum, and holding Jackson away to Man City with Chelsea likely deploying a pivot of Caicedo and Dewsbury Hall in the midfield. It's just not ideal. It doesn't really make me feel very comfortable as a Jackson owner. The recent injuries are also a significant factor to the whole Chelsea engine underperformance. I don't think they looked very good against Wolves. That's something Chelsea fans told me themselves. And on top of that, Cole Palmer has also been dealing with his own injury niggles. If there weren't any cheaper forward options with great permaplay fixtures, I think Jackson would be a stronger hold, but he's struggling to justify his price tag with João Pedro and Wisa's fixtures turning very nicely. Still, you can keep him for the next few. Jackson returned home and away versus Man City last year, but selling him is also perfectly fine. I'd probably go down to one of the cheaper options from Nico. The Mateta boat has passed in my opinion. If you don't own Wood now, you don't buy him with his next set of fixtures. Bournemouth away, Brighton at home, Fulham away, Newcastle away, Liverpool and City in there at home as well. So it's not the right time for Chris Wood if you don't own him. Of course, Gakpo is right there, who we just spoke about. But like I said before, he's a shorter lifespan. If you want more of a medium-term lifespan pick, then João Pedro probably has the best entrance point with the fixture being at home to Everton. If you do buy him, I would recommend ensuring that you can bench him next week away to Forest. Wisa is a great option. His data is fantastic, but I don't particularly love the Palace away entrance. Tottenham at home in next week does look a lot better from an entrance perspective. But the thing is, if you're moving for a forward next week, you're probably going to be really tempted by the Everton guys. I'm an analytical manager, but I refuse to recommend Calvert-Lewin to you guys. As much as I rate penalty takers, I believe Calvert-Lewin is the second worst penalty taking asset in the entire game, only ahead of Southampton's Adam Armstrong, who doesn't even start regularly. Look, you can chance it with Mr. 1 goal and 16 DCL, but I prefer his teammate in DA. He was my GameWeek21 sleeper selection pick before he scored against Spurs. His baseline BPS ranks 3rd highest out of all forwards in the game right now, and it's clear that Ndiaye is central to Everton's long-term project with him having the number 10 shirt. Ndiaye's data hasn't been great, but I do expect that to improve under David Moyes. Deitch didn't even bother attacking with McNeil's injury recently. And against Spurs, India had like 0.56, 0.57 XGI in that one. So I'm expecting underlying upticks for him in the next few weeks. For those of you asking about Chris Wood and whether to sell him, hold him, I know the fixtures aren't necessarily great, but I'd say hold him for a few more because Brighton at home is nice, and I think he's the perfect striker archetype to kind of get the better of two younger center backs in Zabarnyi and Howson with his experience, with his elite movement in the 18-yard box. I'm not saying it's a good fixture, it's a bad fixture for sure, but I still think you could hold him. He's on penalties, and for my personal squad, I think I'm going to be holding him a little bit longer. If you've enjoyed this one, and if you're new around here, then hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who supported the channel. We just hit 1,000 subs, which might not seem like much, but to me, it means a hell of a lot. So thank you guys for all the likes, all the comments, all of the support, and I'll speak to you, of course, in Best Captain. Peace.